around for the economy of Razi. There's now about 160 people living on the island, and about 25, I think, in the primary school. And there were about 3 or 4 children there 30 years ago. The Highlands, well, what is now known as Highlands and Islands Enterprise, as opposed to the Development Board, decided that they were going to put money into the fabric of the building and restore it, and that restoration work was completed last year, a year ago, and 2 weeks before they were about to open, it caught fire and burnt to the ground. Yeah, and it had been all been done at a cost of about £2 million with the National Trust and so on, because of the importance of this building. Spotting ruins and looking at the way the land was used historically, if you just look down on your right, there's the remains of a couple of little black houses in the fields over there. There's a lot of evidence of how the villages were laid out and how the land was cultivated. Now, it's going to become a bit more apparent actually shortly. Ahead of this bay is known as Skye. Or rather, it's not a bay. Head of this seawalk is Skye, the chalet place. Skye has become very famous for 3 things, being the chalet place. So if you needed to lime your soil, an area like this was a good place to come to gather and break the shells, break them up and add them to the peaty ground. Lots of complaints in the history books about people coming and stealing other people's shells. Also very famous then in the 1600s because of the cattle markets that were held here twice a year. Cattle coming down from the Western Isles, coming across from the Western Isles to ports in the north of the island, and then walk down here and eventually walk to the south of the island and swim across. The other reason Skye, or we'll just call it Skye, is so well known is because for many years it was the centre of climbing for those going up the Coolins. And we're just coming along to the foot of the Coolins. We're going to stop here on the way back because you get better views. And the hotel was specifically built for the climbers. strips are known as rigs. And in this part of the world, when we had the first sort of early visitors coming up to the Highlands, the Boston. Black colours come back into view on the right.